Okay, so in this video we're going to work now on the creation of our second character, which is the star. I won't go into a lot of explanations into this video because I already did that in the first one. So you can follow along as you watch me create this other character. Alright, so let's get started. So here what I'm doing is selecting my image folder in the CoronaSDK folder, and it automatically pull all the images. So now what I want to do is pull the background, which is just a guide for me to place my characters and have a sense of the correct proportions of the character. And I set up the background as I set up this image as a background because I don't want it to be selectable. And let me pull now the star image. So the star is also non-selectable and it's a background, and I just changed the opacity to be very light because I also want to use it as a guide. So the next step is to start placing our bones. So here essentially what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the parent bones, and then I'm gonna create the rest of the bones. So let me do that. So the first bone, of course, is the root bone, and just by clicking here in the middle of the star, it's going to create automatically the center bone, which is going to be the parent of the rest of the other bones. So let me do that. Okay, I finished creating the bones. Let me save the project. So the next step is to add the images. Here, unlike the orange guy, I won't use the placeholders for the skins because I don't plan to use other skins in this star. So all I have to do is just drag each of the individual images to the respective bones, and that's it. So let me do that. Just be careful not to select the bones. Let me click on this option so I don't, so I can select the bones, because I only need to place the image but not the bone. So there it is. So our star is ready. Let's make a test to make sure that the rotation of the bones is working nicely with the images. So I'm going to select the first bone, change my tool to the rotation one, and it's working fine. I don't see any gaps when I turn the head. Let's check this arm over here. It's working nicely. Okay, so we finished setting up our star. So now let's work on an animation for it. Let me save this first. So now let me hide the background because I no longer need it, and I'm also going to hide um, the full image of the star that I had as a guide. Let's check again one of these bones just to double check that is working nicely, and it is. Alright, so everything's ready. So I'm changing now to the animate mode. The default animation, it's called animation. Let me rename it with let's say walking. And now let's work on the animation itself. So I'm going to select the loop button over here because I want to repeat the walking animation over and over again. I'm also going to select the auto key and double click here to unselect everything. So now what I'm going to do is click and drag around all the bones with the exception of the root bone over here. And the first thing I'm going to do is click on these keys because I want to have keys for all the bones in the initial position. So the next step is just to copy the frame 0 uh, bones positions and copy everything up to the frame 20 because it's going to be a looping animation. I want to be the starting point to be exactly the same as the ending point. And again, I'm going to copy that here in the middle because this is where I'm going to start making changes. So the next step is to grab one of the, let me just double click here on on the canvas to unselect everything, and now I need to make changes to the individual bones to make the animation. So I'm gonna start making changes to the bones, and you can follow along as you watch me doing it on the screen. Okay, so the walking animation is finished. Now let me add a second one, so we can make an animation for when the star is jumping. So let me do that now. Here the procedure is exactly the same. I have the auto key selected. I have selected the option for looping the animation. Double click here on the canvas to unselect all the bones, and click and drag to select everything again. And let's start, and then we have to key everything to capture the initial position. And now let's start making changes to the animation. Let's see how it looks. Okay, that should do it for now. This is just an example. So there we have it. There you have it. So we finished setting up the bounds for the star, and then we created two animations: one for walking and another for jumping. So now let's move on to the next um, object we are going to animate in Spine, which is the button. So I'll see you in the next video.